Men have carved paths through mountains with bare hands. You probably have heard of others who slayed beasts and of warriors who can run through a battalion. One such man is Arjun. Once there was a remote village surrounded by dark and unforgiving mountains. The village was suffering from a severe drought, its crops withering, and its livestock dying. The village elders speak of natural spring high up in the mountains, believed to hold enough water to save the village. However, no one has ever reached this spring for fear of the mountains. Black, dangerous, rocky, and treacherous. Many feared the mountain was cursed, and those who had tried to conquer it never returned. A determined young villager named Arjun volunteered to embark on the dangerous journey to locate the spring and find a way to save the village. His plan was simple: locate the spring, explore the mountain, identify a reliable route, and discover how the spring's water can be redirected back to the village. And so he began his ascent. From the start of the journey, the mountain rejected him. Every climb was risky, the weather biting, the mountain towering even higher, and the rugged edges sharper. However, with each challenge, his physical and mental endurance grew. Arjun found himself strength he never knew he had. He eventually found the spring, bubbling up from a hidden crevice in the mountain, its clear water more abundant than the elders described. Arjun successfully charted the path, the water followed beneath the surface, and marked the areas where it might be redirected to the village. Returning back to the village, Arjun presented his findings. He saved his village from famine. His village believed Arjun to be a reincarnation of their god, and so they made him into an idol. There are thousands of well-known stories that tell of great feats attained by many. Stories of courage and tenacity, many doubtful, because they portray impossible extents to which the body and mind can be stretched to achieve just about anything. It is the impossibility of feats like these that turn many into legends. It is almost as though gods lived among us. But are these men gods? Could Rohan really be an incarnation of his village god? Or is there a science to how we can actually grow stronger and stronger, physically and mentally in the face of worsening conditions? This is what we look closely at in this video. As Rohan stood at the base of the towering mountain, he knew that the journey ahead was dangerous. He was certain he could die, just like many that had attempted climbing the mountain before him. But he had a flicker of hope that all he had to do was try, and maybe, just maybe, he would pull off saving his village. But what he didn't know was how much this journey would push him beyond his limits and transform him into someone far more capable than he had ever imagined. Like Rohan in this story, each of us faces our own mountains. These can be physical obstacles, mental struggles, or life challenges that seem insurmountable. But what if I told you that science shows we are more capable than we think of overcoming these difficulties? The human body and mind have a remarkable ability to adapt to stress, danger, and adversity far more than we often give them credit for. The power of the human body to adapt. As Rohan began his climb, the first thing he encountered was the physical toll the mountain exacted on him. The steep cliffs, loose rocks, and storms forced his muscles to work harder, his lungs to push more oxygen into his bloodstream, and his heart to pump faster. While these may seem like challenges that would wear a person down, the opposite can happen under the right conditions. Our bodies are designed to adapt to stress through a process called allostasis, where our body works to maintain stability, homeostasis, through change. During physical challenges like climbing, the body adjusts by increasing muscle strength, improving cardiovascular function, and enhancing endurance. For Arjun, each step he took made him a little stronger, a little more capable of continuing his journey. The process of adaptation means that as we face increasing levels of difficulty, our bodies respond by becoming more efficient and resilient. This is why regular exposure to physical stress, such as weightlifting, leads to better overall strength. Your base weight in the gym soon becomes too light, and you need to add more weight. It is science. But the villager didn't just rely on brute strength. His body also had to deal with the environmental extremes: cold winds, lack of food, and altitude. Here, the body's incredible ability to adjust to different climates and conditions shines. The villager's core temperature regulated to keep him warm, and his metabolism slowed to conserve energy when food became scarce. This shows how, when faced with prolonged hardship, the body finds ways to conserve resources and continue functioning at a high level, a phenomenon known as adaptive thermogenesis. So, here is the question: do you know exactly how physically strong you are? And if you knew, would you step out of the shadow and face whatever challenge is in front of you today? Now, let's talk about mental capability. Mental resilience. Climbing the psychological mountain. Like many of our obstacles in life, Rowan's journey wasn't just physical, it was deeply mental. As he ascended higher, doubt, fear, and fatigue likely set in. This is where the mind's adaptability comes into play. The human brain has an extraordinary capacity for neuroplasticity, the ability to rewire itself in response to new experiences and challenges. As Rowan faced each mental hurdle, whether fear of falling or uncertainty about his path, his brain adjusted to help him cope with the increasing stress. But there is a catch. Mental resilience is often built in the face of hardship. The more difficult situations we face, the more our brain learns to handle stress and adversity. So sitting down, thinking about the mental demand of undergoing a behemoth task will not trigger your mind's ability to match the pressure. This only happens when you get up and face the challenge. For Rowan, each storm he endured, each treacherous step he took, was like mental weightlifting, strengthening his brain's ability to manage fear, make quick decisions, and remain focused under pressure. But it gets better. Studies have shown that even after intense mental stress or trauma, the brain can recover and adapt by forming new neural pathways, leading to improved problem-solving abilities and emotional resilience. This is a form of adaptivity, one of the great gifts of human nature. Our ability to adapt to extreme environmental conditions right from birth helps fashion us into what we become. Studies on resilience show that individuals who face and overcome adversity often emerge with greater psychological strength, more emotional balance, and even a heightened sense of purpose. The brain's ability to learn from difficult experiences is one of the most powerful survival tools we have. Climbing a mental mountain is as much about learning to tolerate and overcoming discomfort as it is about strategy. And just as Rowan didn't turn back when things got tough, we too must often push through the initial wave of fear and self-doubt. The role of courage, the key to adaptation. But how do we get to that point where our bodies and minds can adapt? Courage. Courage is the key that unlocks our ability to transform. Rowan didn't know what he would encounter on his journey. He was only certain he might lose his life. But he also knew he had no choice. He could have easily stayed in the safety of the village, watching the crops die and the livestock weaken. But by deciding to face the mountain head-on, he activated the physical and psychological mechanisms of adaptation. Courage is the first step to facing obstacles. Courage doesn't mean the absence of fear, it means taking action despite fear. And this is what allows the body and mind to begin the process of adaptation. With courage, we challenge ourselves to confront the unknown, to push beyond our comfort zones. Think of athletes who push through pain or scholars who persevere through the pressure of complex studies. Like you, all they had was potential. They weren't born able to handle these things, they adapted over time by consistently confronting challenges. Just as Rowan took the first step up the mountain, every courageous decision we make in life forces our bodies and minds to stretch, grow, and evolve. Each small victory, a fear confronted, a goal pursued, prepares us for the next challenge, no matter how daunting it may seem. By summoning the courage to start, we set off a chain reaction of growth and adaptation. Overcoming the allostatic load. Yes, your body is programmed to build adaptability to horrendous conditions. However, there is a limit. We are humans after all, and our bodies and minds are not infinitely adaptable. Prolonged exposure to stress, without periods of rest and recovery, can lead to allostatic overload, where the body's systems begin to break down due to the constant strain. Rowan had enough sense to know he couldn't climb forever without rest. He had to pace himself, find moments of reprieve from the storm, and recover between pushes. The same is true for all of us. While we are capable of incredible feats of adaptation, it's crucial to recognize when we've pushed too far. Signs of allostatic overload can include chronic fatigue, anxiety, depression, or physical illness. This is why balancing challenge with recovery is essential for long-term success. Just as muscles need time to repair after a workout, our minds need rest to process and adapt to the mental strain. The lesson here is that while climbing our personal mountains is essential for growth, we must also learn to listen to our bodies and minds when they signal the need for recovery. This balance is key to sustainable achievement. Reaching the summit. The reward of adaptation. When Rowan finally reached the spring, he didn't just find a source of water, he found a deeper sense of himself. The journey had transformed him, introducing him to himself anew. The Rowan who began the journey wasn't the Rowan at the end of the journey. The journey had given him a new level of confidence in his ability to face challenges. For the rest of us, climbing our personal mountains holds similar rewards. When we summon the courage to face the challenges life throws at us, and when we allow our bodies and minds to adapt to these challenges, we come out on the other side stronger, more capable, and more resilient. Whether the mountain is a difficult career goal, a personal loss, or a mental health struggle, the process of adaptation allows us to grow and achieve things we never thought possible. The science of adaptation shows that we are built to face adversity. We are crafted to find purpose and self in adversity. And though the journey may be treacherous, like the young villager who saved his village, we have the capacity to find our hidden springs, the sources of strength, knowledge, and resilience that can carry us through life's greatest challenges. Rowan's journey teaches us that life's challenges are like a steep mountain. You have to confront them with courage and determination. If you let fear take over, you might never reach your goal.